What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Anthony and this is Watch With Me. Today we're going to be going over 3 of my favorite watches from my personal collection, what they mean to me, why I purchased them, and how often I wear them. Before we get into that, wristwatch check. Today I am wearing my 1987 Rolex Submariner. This is a 16800 000, only in production for 9 months. The first time Rolex ever used a 904 grade steel, and it's not in my top 3, but let's get into what is. So first off, we have the Panerai Luminor 312. This is the 1950s case. Absolutely the largest watch I own. I don't typically like larger watches, but at 44 millimeters, I think there's something about this watch that's large, but it still fits my wrist really well, and kind of demands presence on the wrist, which I absolutely love. And it helps it's from an Italian background, which as am I, although you probably can't notice with how pale I am. But the reason why I purchased this watch, I actually purchased it 8 years ago, and I sold it to fund another watch, and it's the only watch in my collection that I had previously sold it and bought it back. Panerai has this reputation where a lot of them look comparable or very, very similar, which they do. But that being said, individually, I think they're just so unique. This looks like nothing else in my collection, and I absolutely love it for that reason. It's a very rugged watch. I wear it everywhere I go on vacation. I wore it in Iceland, I wore it in Italy, to the UK, the Caribbean. It definitely has some love marks on it, but you know, that's what it was made for. It was worn in, you know, in the World Wars by the frogmen, and it's just a badass watch. I mean, if it's good enough for Sylvester Stallone, then it's good enough for me. So it's also extremely fun to change out the straps on the watch. It's one of the only watches I have that I really don't like sticking with the OEM straps. I love supporting all the aftermarket strap makers, mostly coming from Asia. They do amazing work. I'll drop a photo up top of some of the straps I have, quite a bit. But I purchased this watch the second time in celebrating my wedding. So a very special piece with me, and something I think I've learned my lesson, and I'm going to hold on to it forever. Second, we have my 1960s AOPA Navitimer. For those of you who don't know what AOPA means, it's the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association watch. It was, as you can see, it is on the dial up top. This one in particular does not have the branding of Breitling on the dial, but it has this beautiful reverse panda dial with the beads of rice bezel, which is somewhat harder to come by. I purchased this watch on eBay, actually, through a seller, and I absolutely love it. I love the tritium in the hands, although it's kind of falling through the hands now, which is why I don't wear it too often. I'm scared that the tritium is going to completely fall out of the hands. But it has this very aged dial that I think just works so beautifully with this suede strap that I got from Crown and Buckle. And I just think it's just such an iconic watch, and so underappreciated in my opinion. And it's, in terms of Breitling, it's by far the best watch they've ever made. And in terms of vintage timepieces, I personally think Breitling makes some of the best vintage pieces, or rather, they've made some of the best vintage pieces. So one of my top 3s, definitely my 806 Navitimer. I absolutely love it. Comes in at 41 millimeters, which for the 1960s was absolutely huge, but by today's standards is perfect. Last but not least is my Rolex. This is the 16528. This is a solid gold Zenith Movement Daytona. This one dates from 1993 to 1994, which is an S serial number. It's just, it's the first time I ever owned a gold watch that was on a gold bracelet. And, you know, there was a time that I really thought Rolex was overrated. I didn't understand it. And then I've had some in the past, but I've never owned a Daytona until this one. And I understand why it's such an iconic piece. It fits so well on the wrist at 40 millimeters. It fits extremely well. It's not too large. It's not too small. Plus, I think having the El Primero movement. There's something really special about that. And I can say I purchased this one just before the Phillips auction when they were auctioning off the Paul Newman Daytona. I had an idea that this watch would go up in value after that. I didn't realize how much it actually would this quickly, being it's been almost a year and a half, and how much it's gone up since then. But I would say this is probably my favorite watch in my collection, and it's one of the main reasons I actually sold my Patek 5711. When I purchased the Rolex Daytona, it was really getting up most of my wrist time. I was finding that I wasn't wearing my Patek anymore because of how much I just love this watch. 2 Rolexes in my collection, but I think this this really screams you know what I'm all about. Classy on the inside with the El Primero movement, but a flashy on the outside that you want to hate, but you just can't help to love. All kidding aside, guys, those are my 3 favorite watches in my collection. I hope you appreciate it. Do me a favor, drop me a like if you like this video. I will be doing a whole collection video. I wanted to wait until I make at least 100 subscribers. But until then, leave a comment down below on what you think about my watches. And until next time, take it easy, guys.